Hi everyone, Hannah here again. If you weren't able to catch our latest video, I am the magic behind the videos here on the Bayser team. This week we are going to be starting a series on a series of data sources that are all free to use. Today we're going to be talking about the Sunshine Act specifically, and if you find anything in this video useful, give it a like, share it with a friend, and make sure to subscribe so that you can catch the next video in the series.
Hello, how are you doing?
Morning, JP. How are you?
Very good, very good. Shanmugam, we have
Yes.
kind of two questions on my mind
Okay.
today. We want, I think the first question is, we hear about the Sunshine Act and so on,
Right.
and I want to see if we can really help there.
Okay.
The first one is I want to get a good idea about choosing the champion, right? The physician champion for our drug. And we want to understand who's kind of in the pharma club, the ones that are quoted by the pharma companies, the network between the physician and so on, and also maybe some kind of profiling, maybe some financial profiling of the doctors for better targeting.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one question, right?
Okay.
The second one is about understanding. It's a database that kind of just doesn't exist. It is about the rep activity. Of course, each pharma company would have the activity, the call, right?
Right.
The calls of their reps, but we don't have such a thing like the call activity for the whole US about different therapeutic areas, different drugs, and all that stuff. So, in your mind, do you think the Sunshine Act would help?
Absolutely. Yeah. Because I think that's a great way to look at and leverage open payments data, right, JP? Because most of the times, actually, there's 3 files within open payments.
Oh, I thought there was only one.
Right. And I feel that there are different, with the nature of how the pharma company pays the physician or even the teaching hospital. I think the database goes beyond just the physician. It also talks about NPPAs and also the teaching hospitals, and also not just the drugs, but it also talks about biological, medical device, and medical.
So it's broader. It's broader than drugs and physicians.
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly. Yeah.
But maybe for us today, we'll focus on the drugs and physicians.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
I think you have a few things you want to show us.
Absolutely. Yeah. Let's jump into a demo. We took a CAR T therapy from a major manufacturer. Let me dive in. So, yeah, here we have 3 files, like I was telling earlier, JP. The first one, the most popular one, is the general payment, and this is the general payments file.
Okay.
And then there is research, which is more for like clinical trials and stuff.
Okay.
And then there's also ownership, which is like the shares that they have and things like that. Okay. The first thing that I'd like, the biggest one is actually the general payments file, which is 14 million records. And then
that's a lot of records, right?
Yeah.
For 1 year.
Right.
Oh, wow.
And for so many physicians, nurse practitioners, teaching hospital.
Yeah.
And then the research file has about 1 million record.
Okay.
And then the smallest of them was the ownership file, which is just 4K.
So it is what the doctor buys shares in the pharma companies, and that's reported in there.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. If you see here, these are some of the common stock and holdings.
Okay.
Based on this company. But for today's discussion, we'll focus on the general payment.
Okay. Did you choose a drug in particular?
Yeah. So we chose a CAR T therapy from a major manufacturer. So we're actually working on a project for that. So we thought we could highlight that.
Okay.
Yes. And the first thing that you would notice is the NPI, right? The physician NPI.
But was that always the case that we have the NPI?
Actually, before they had a profile ID, and going back in time, there were actually 4 files before. But now they removed one of the dispute files and then folded it in. But now we just have 3.
So that's very convenient that we have the NPI. You can connect it directly with other databases that we have, right?
Exactly. This was I think last 2 years is when they start releasing the NPI. Before it used to be a profile ID, and we used the fuzzy matcher and stuff. But we don't have to do that now. Yes.
So you have the NPI of the doctor, and then the names of the doctor, the address, city, state, specialty, all that stuff, right?
Exactly. Like here, right, JP? So if you see the different physicians, nurse practitioner, And then if you go a little further down, you see medical doctors, right?
Yep.
And then what specialty they have,
Okay.
hematology, oncology.
Okay.
Right. And then if you scroll even further, you'll be able to see the two things that will pop out is the cadence of the payment. As you can see, the dates, right?
Oh, it's kind of each day that they receive the money.
Exactly. Yeah.
Wow, this is interesting.
And
Great.
and the nature of payment. And I know you had a
So a little slowly, Shanmugam, on the
right.
date, so you can distinguish between doctors that receive the money like one time
Right.
from those that receive the money like clockwork.
Exactly.
Right?
Yes.
So that would tell you if it's clockwork that the kind of maybe nature of relationship is stronger, maybe.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah, that's a good
Okay.
point, JP. I was about to share that we've seen like every month, like on the 11th or 10th, going for consulting fee, like 5,500,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Or if it's like one of like physician, the rep call activity, then it'll be a food and beverage. It'll be like a big slice of pizza and a Coke, right?
Good for the cardiovascular doctor, right?
Yes, exactly. Yeah, as you can see, even as small as $9 is still captured, right? And these are the types of payment that the physician actually is reporting, right? Compensation for services, other than consulting fee, food and beverage, and the space rental and facility
Like
fees.
conferences or something like this.
Right,
Yeah.
for actually teaching hospitals.
Yeah.
Right, the conferences would be like travel and lodging,
Yeah.
like speaker programs and
Right,
stuff
right,
too.
right.
Right.
So when we're talking about the rep activity, so basically, I think we can look at the nature where it's a food and beverage, because
Right.
basically a call to the doctor where the rep brings some food, the doctor would show up here, right?
Exactly. Yep. Spot on. Yes.
Yeah.
That is how you can map the entire call activity of the nation.
Wow,
Yes.
wow.
They're really powerful, right? And,
Yeah. And the kind of the other things that come to mind, Shanmugam, is here when I was talking about the profiling of the doctor.
Yeah.
So we can see something like the allegiance index. So,
Yes.
for example, if the patient would take money from any doctor, any manufacturer,
Right.
or they would take the money only from one manufacturer, right?
Yes, exactly. Right. That's a good point as well. Because since we zoomed in on a particular drug, we just see a bunch of physicians. But if you look at the opposite side, where we zoom in on a particular physician of interest, we can see what are all drugs he's endorsing, right?
Yeah.
And is it TA specific, or does it go beyond and have multiple relations with many manufacturers? And we can hog back in time as well.
This what's the earliest version we have of this
So
database?
the earliest version that released was 2017.
So it's 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23.
Right. We have 7 years of data.
Wow.
And then we can see if it's the relationship between a physician and a manufacturer. Is it long lasting, or is it just newly blossom, right?
Okay.
Yeah, right.
So that really should help me kind of identify the champions.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Wonderful.
And it has a bleed over effect across like multiple drugs in for a particular manufacturer.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So if they'll have a new launch, is the physician going to be endorsing that too?
And something that we didn't mention is all those monies, they are assigned to one drug.
Yes, exactly.
Right. So this is very specific, right? It's not a TA, it's a drug.
Yes.
One specific drug.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yep. That's the best part about that.
Wow, I love this database, man.
Nice.
This
You're
is
very
good.
welcome. Yeah. There's been a really lot of hidden gems that we were able to uncover, and then kind of package it in a way how we can help answer business questions.
The only question I have is how recent is this data, Shanmugam?
So the one that we actually took a deep dive was 2023. So for the entire calendar year, from Jan to December 2023.
So we are in 2nd of April today. That's
Yeah.
kind of year and 3 months.
Correct. So they wait 1 year, and then they release the following year in January for the previous calendar year.
Okay, wonderful.
Yeah.
And it's free, right?
Yes, 100%.
Okay. I mean, we should be using it more, right?
Yeah, big time. We've used it in many projects. Yeah. Okay.
See you next
guys
time.
next time. Until next time.